Evening, my little angel. In this first part about Halloween characters, let us talk about witches. Witches are charismatic characters from everywhere, at all times, in many cultures, from real life to literature to movies. Most of us know what a witch is, or at least we have a certain image of a witch when we hear about this character. But, my little love, do you know why we remember the first witch character when we talk about Halloween? Witches in Western culture are believed to have originated in medieval European society, especially closely related to Christianity, including Roman Catholicism. In the beginning, witches were considered bad existences related to demons. One of the studies of Halloween records that in the past, the Celtic people lived scattered throughout Europe, and the Samhain, or as it was more clearly called, All Hallows Eve, the predecessor of Halloween, was very different from today. Since the Romans conquered the Celtic people, the small Celtic community lived only in northern Europe and the area around England until today. Their traditional Samhain also began to change. Similar to the seventh month of a lunar calendar, Celtic Samhain spanned months of a year, from late summer to the early winter, a time when the boundary between living existences and the souls is blurred. The souls of the dead freely roamed the world of the living during this period. The end of the Samhain season was Samhain Day or Halloween. In the Tetsuko of Christianity, after this religion became the largest religion in Europe during the Middle Ages, Celtic beliefs, because of their association with the witches, magic, and the souls of the dead, went against the faith in one God and were considered heretic. Even so, one of the earliest records of witchcraft came from the Old Testament, a section written between 931 and 721 BC, which told of the witch Endor who helped King Saul summon the prophet Samuel, who died, to help him defeat the Philistines. Speaking of which, now, my little angel, imagine that witches use magic to create connections with souls. We don't call witchcraft, witches' magic is divided into white and black. White magic is often used for altruistic purposes and vice versa for the black one. Today, the witch character is often depicted as a woman dressed in black, riding a broom, and accompanied by a black cat. However, this imagery was a bit different when it was represented in some works of fantasy literature, such as The Lord of the Rings by author Januaryrange Tolkien, with male wizards wearing costumes including black and white robes and other styles of clothing as well. The witches in Harry Potter by female author Joanne K. Rowling were more modern and different than a classic image of this character. About the black cats, they are not a Halloween character as are bats. We will learn more in the Halloween section next time. Returning to Tottochan, there will be a surprise to open the chapter for us, and also a big surprise for Tottochan and her friends returning to school after winter vacation. Let us start right now. The library car and tales. When the children returned to school after winter vacation, they discovered something wonderful and new, and greeted the discovery with shouted and joy. Opposite the row of the classroom cars stood a new car besides the flower bed by the assembly hall. In their absence, it had become a library. Ryo-chan, the janitor, whom everyone respected and who could do all sorts of things, had obviously been working terribly hard. He had put up lots and lots of shelves in the car, and they were filled with rows of books of all kinds and colors. There were desks and chairs too, where you could sit and read. "This is your library," the headmaster said. "Any of this book may be read by anyone. You needn't fear that these books are reserved for certain grades or anything like that. You can come here anytime you like, and if you want to borrow a book and take it home, you may. When you've read it, be sure to bring it back. And if you got any books at home that you think the others would like to read, I'm delighted if you bring them here. At any rate, please do as much reading as you can. Let's make the first class today a library class, cried the children unanimously. Is that what you really want to do? Said the headmaster, smiling happily to see them so excited. All right, then why not? Whereupon, the whole pupil body of Tomoe, all 50 children, piled into the library car with great excitement. They picked the book they wanted and tried to sit down, but only about half could find seats, and the rest had to stand. It looked exactly like the crowded train with people reading books standing up. It was a pretty funny sight. The children were overjoyed. Totto-chan couldn't read too well yet, so she chose the book with a picture in it that looked most entertaining. The car suddenly became quiet when everyone had a book in hand and started turning the pages. But not for long. The silence was soon broken by a jumble of voices. Some were reading passages aloud. Some were asking others meaning of characters they didn't know, and some wanted to swap books. Laughter filled the train. One child had just started a book called Singing Pictures and was drawing a face while reading out the accompanying jingle in a loud sing-song. A circle and a spot, a circle and a spot, crisscrosses for the nose, another round and dot, 3 hairs, 3 hairs, 3 hairs, and wow, quick as a wink, there's a fat housefrau. The face had to be encircled by the word wow, and the 3 semicircles drawn as you say, quick as a wink. If you made all of the proper strokes, the result was the face of a plump woman in an old-fashioned Japanese hairdo. At Tomoe, where the children were allowed to work on the subjects in the order they pleased, it could have been awkward if they let themselves to be disturbed by what others were doing. They were trained to concentrate no matter what was going on around them. So, nobody paid attention to the child singing aloud when drawing the house floor. 1 or 2 had joined in, but all the others were observed in their books. Totto-chan's book seemed to be a folktale. It was about a rich man's daughter who couldn't get a husband because she was constantly breaking wind. Finally, her parents managed to find her husband for her, but she was so excited on her wedding night that she let out a much bigger than ever before, and the wind blew her bridegroom out of the bed, spun him around the bedroom 7.5 times, and knocked him unconscious. The picture that had looked so entertaining showed him flying through the room. Afterward, that book was always in great demand. All the school pupils packed into the train like sardines, devouring the books so eagerly in the morning sunlight that was pouring through the windows must have presented a sight that gladdened the heart of the headmaster. The children spent the whole of that day in the library car. After that, when they couldn't be outdoors because of rain, and at many other times, the library became the favorite gathering place for them. I think I'd better have a bathroom built near the library, said the headmaster one day. That was because the children could become so absorbed in their books that they were always holding out until the very last minute before making a dash for the toilet beyond the assembly hall, holding themselves in a strange contortions. One afternoon, when school was over and Totto-chan was preparing to go home, Oyagen came running to her and whispered, "The headmaster met somebody." "Where?" asked Totto-chan. She had never heard of the headmaster getting angry and was amazed. Oyagen was obviously amazed too, just seeing the way he had come running in such a hurry to tell her. "They're in a kitchen, said Oregon, his good-natured eyes open wide and his nostrils a little dilated. Come on! Totto-chan took Oregon's hands and they both raced toward the headmaster's house. It adjoined the assembly hall and the kitchen was proper by the back entrance to the school grounds. The time Tottochan fell into the cesspool, she was taken through the kitchen to the bathroom to be scrubbed clean. And it was the headmaster kitchen that something from the ocean and something from the hills were made to be done loud at lunchtime. As the two children tiptoed toward the kitchen, they heard the angry voice of the headmaster through the closed door. What made you say so thoughtlessly to Takahashi that he had a tail? It was their homeroom teacher who was being reprimanded. I didn't mean it seriously, they heard her reply. I just happened to notice him then, and he looked so cute. But can't you see the seriousness of what you said? What can I do to make you understand the care I take about Takahashi? Totto-chan remembered what happened in class that morning. The homeroom teacher had been telling them about the human beings initially having tails. The children had thought it great fun. Grown-ups could have probably called her talk an introduction to the theory of evolution. It appealed to the children greatly. And when the teacher told them everybody has the vestige of a tail called a coccyx, the child started wondering where his or hers was. And soon the classroom was in an uproar. Finally, the teacher had said shockingly, maybe somebody here still have a tail? What about you, Takahashi? Takahashi-kun had quickly stood up, shaking his head emphatically, and said in deadly earnest, I haven't got one. Totto-chan realized that was what the headmaster was talking about. His voice had now become more sad than angry. Did it occur to you to think how Takahashi might feel if he was asked if he had a tail? The children couldn't hear the teacher's reply. Totto-chan didn't understand why the headmaster was so angry about a tail. She would have loved being asked by the headmaster if she had a tail. Of course, she had nothing wrong with her, so she couldn't have minded such a question. But Takahashi-kun had stopped growing, and he knew it. That was why the headmaster had thought up events for sport days in which Takahashi-kun would do well. He had them swim in the pool without swimsuits, so the children like Takahashi-kun would lose their self-consciousness. He did all he could to have children with physical handicaps like Takahashi-kun and Yasuaki-chan lose any complexes they might have and the feeling they were inferior to other children. It was beyond the headmaster's comprehension how anyone could be so thoughtless as to ask Takahashi-kun just because he looked cute whether he had a tail. The headmaster was visiting that class, standing in the back of the classroom when she said it. Totto-chan could hear the homeroom teacher crying. It was terribly wrong of me, she sobbed. What can I do to apologize to Takahashi? The headmaster said nothing. Totto-chan couldn't see him through the glass door, but she wanted to be with him so much. She didn't know what it was all about, but somehow she felt more than ever that he was their friend. Oregon must have felt that way too. Totto-chan never forgot how the headmaster had reprimanded the homeroom teacher in his kitchen and not in the faculty room where the other teachers were. It showed he was an educator in the very best sense of the word, although Totto-chan didn't realize that at the time. The sound of his voice and his words remained in her heart forever. It was almost spring, Totto-chan's second spring at Tomoe, and the beginning of a new school year. A chapter closes today's story time with things to consider. The feeling is inevitable, but let us save the thought for tomorrow. Today's story time has been long. I wish my little love a good night's sleep. Kiss you long on your forehead. See you again next time.